Leira stood at the edge of the docking bay, her sharp eyes watching another empty planet disappear into the stars. Her ship was quiet, just like her mood. Planet after planet, system after system, the answer was always the same. No. She had visited over 95 worlds, all of them filled with males from different species. Some were made of metal, some with wings, others with minds so powerful they could read thoughts. But none of them had what she was searching for. It was not just strength she wanted, not only wisdom or charm. She wanted a mind that could challenge hers, a will that would not bend, and a heart that could understand her. But everywhere she went, they either feared her, worshipped her, or tried to use her. Not one stood equal. On her home planet, she was praised as the highest among her kind. Her people believed she would find the perfect match among the stars. They had given her their best ship, knowledge of all known worlds, and blessings to find what no one else could. Now years had passed, and hope was fading. Her voice broke the silence. What is left? Her ship's system replied, naming only a few unknown planets. One of them was called Earth. Earth, she said again. Primitive. Forgotten. Ignored. She stared at the small blue world on her screen. It was not part of the central systems. No major race had made contact with it. Most didn't even know it existed. Maybe that's why it's different. With a command, her ship turned and jumped through space. The stars blurred as she moved closer to a world no one cared about. She wanted to see it herself. When she landed, it was quiet. No defense, no alarm, just open land and sky. Her ship hid itself under a cloak. She stepped out into heat and wind. A few miles away was a human science camp. They were studying the desert's rock layers. She watched from a distance, listening. They laughed, talked, and argued. It was strange. They were not scared. They were not serious. Or just living. She walked toward them. They noticed her at once. The group froze. Some grabbed tools, others backed away. But one man stepped forward. "You all right there?" he asked, dust on his face and shirt. He looked curious, not afraid. She said nothing, just looked at him. He was not tall, not glowing, not armored. But his eyes were clear, steady. "Name's Jack," he said. "You lost or something?" "I'm not from here," she answered. "Yeah," he smiled. "I figured." The others slowly returned to their work, still watching. Jack walked with her to the side of the camp. "So," he said, "what brings you to our boring little rock?" "I searched for someone," she said. "None have passed my tests. None are enough." "Tests, huh?" he said, rubbing his chin. "Sounds like you're looking for a real tough one." "Not just tough," she said. "Balanced, strong in thought, honest in heart." Jack nodded slowly. "Well," he said, "good luck finding that. Not many people even try to be like that anymore." She looked at him. He spoke plainly. No tricks, no fear. "What about you?" Jack laughed. "Me, I'm just a guy who fixes stuff and gets sunburned too often." Spoke to me without fear. "You looked like you needed someone to talk to. Fear doesn't help much in that." She paused. Something about him felt ... different. Not like the others. She watched him return to the group. He helped someone lift a heavy crate, then shared water with another. He joked and smiled, but his eyes stayed sharp. Maybe Earth was strange, maybe forgotten, but she had a feeling it held more than anyone had guessed. And maybe Jack was just the beginning. Leira stood on a small hill near the camp and watched the humans work. They moved with no fear of war or danger. They joked, laughed, and argued about simple things. It was strange for her to see people so open and unguarded. She had seen many worlds, some full of war, others ruled by logic and cold machines. This place felt alive in a different way. Jack walked up the hill with 2 bottles of water. "Still watching us like some kind of alien bird," he said, handing her a bottle. She took it and looked at him. "You know, I am not from here." "Yeah," he said. "But you don't seem like the type who wants to hurt anybody." "What if I was Jack?" Smiled. "Then we'd have a problem. Something tells me you're just looking for something." Leira nodded. "I have looked across the galaxy. None were enough." "And you're still searching," he said. "Why keep going?" "Because I must. My people expect me to find the one who stands equal to me." Jack sat down on the dry ground and leaned back. "Sounds like a heavy load." "It is not weight. It is purpose. The same thing sometimes, he said. She sat beside him. The sun was strong, but she did not mind it. Her skin was built for harsher stars. Your people, Jack said, they ever think maybe you're asking for too much. They believe I deserve it. They believe I will find it, but you haven't. Maybe you're looking in the wrong way. Leira looked at him. His face was open. No tricks, no pride. Then show me your way, she said. Show me what humans are. Jack thought for a moment. No? Then he stood. All right, but it's not all smart or noble. Sometimes it's just dumb luck and trying not to mess up. He led her to the camp. The others were still unsure about her, but Jack spoke for her. They let her help with setting up solar panels and organizing gear. She worked faster than all of them, but stayed quiet. One man, Ben, walked over. So Jack says you're from space. That true, yes? Leira said. Wild, he said. You look like a regular woman. I am not. Ben laughed and walked off. Jack gave her a nod. He means well. He's just simple. That night, the group sat around a small fire. Leira listened to their stories. One spoke of his dog. Another told a story about a failed date, but they laughed at their own mistakes. Jack shared a story about crashing his first car into a mailbox. What is a mailbox? Leira asked. Jack explained, and she raised an eyebrow. Your machines break so easily. Yeah, he said, but we fix them. That's the point. We'll mess up, then try again. Leira stared into the fire. On my world, mistakes are shameful. We are trained not to fail. And how do you learn anything new? She was quiet for a moment. Maybe we don't. Jack tossed another stick into the fire. Around here, messing up is part of growing up. She watched him. This man was not like the others. He was not trying to win her. He did not treat her like a prize. He just lived. The next morning, she asked Jack to follow her to a dry canyon nearby. I want to test you, she said. Test me how the same way I tested others. Strength, speed, survival, logic. Jack shrugged. All right. But I warn you, I might not be good at any of that. We will see. She set the rules. He had to cross the canyon, find a signal beacon, and return before sunset. It's no help, no tools, except a pack with food and water. Jack looked down at the rocky path. Looks rough. It is, she said. Many failed here. Jack adjusted the pack. Then I'll try not to join that list. She watched him walk down into the canyon. He was alone now, and she would see what he was really made of. The canyon was dry, cracked, and sharp. Rocks the size of cars rested on loose ground. Thorny bushes grew between them, and the sun beat down without mercy. Jack moved slowly, checking every step. Leora watched from a high cliff. She had placed the signal beacon at the far end of the canyon. It would take a sharp eye and strong will to reach it. Most who tried had given up. One had even begged for rescue. Jack kept going. He used a stick to test the ground before him. Once he almost stepped into a deep hole hidden by dust. He jumped back, heart pounding. Well, he said to himself, that's one way to fall fast. He took a drink of water, wiped his face, and kept walking. His shirt clung to his skin. He had already scraped one hand on a rock, but he didn't stop. Halfway through the canyon, the path grew narrow. Sharp stones jutted from both sides. A small landslide blocked the way. Jack tried to move the rocks, but they were heavy, too heavy. Sat down and thought. Yes. After a minute, he climbed up the side wall, using small handholds. He nearly slipped once, but caught himself. At the top, he looked down the other side. More stones, more heat, but also the faint sound of a pulse. He followed it. Leira watched with interest. Jack had no special armor, no advanced tools. He had only what he brought and what he could figure out. But still, he moved forward. Jack finally found the signal beacon behind a ridge of red stone. It was blinking slowly. He smiled, touched it, and turned around to head back. On the return path, a sharp sound stopped him. A rattling noise echoed in the canyon. He turned and saw a long desert snake, its body coiled, its head raised. Great, he muttered. Of course, the snake hissed. Jack backed away slowly, keeping his eyes on it. He picked up a rock and held it ready. The snake struck fast. Jack moved to the side and threw the rock. It hit the ground near the snake, sending it slithering off into the dry brush. Jack let out a breath. His test just keeps getting better. He limped back to the camp. His leg had scraped a sharp rock, and a thin line of blood ran down his shin. But he didn't stop. Sunset painted the sky orange and gold. Leira stood waiting as he climbed out of the canyon. She looked at his torn shirt, the dust on his face, and the blood on his leg. "You made it. Barely," Jack said. "You sure know how to pick a challenge. You could have quit." "I don't quit," he said. "Not unless there's no other way." She handed him water. He drank it without speaking. "Why keep going when it hurts?" she asked. Jack looked at her. "Because it matters. You don't know what you can do until you try. Pain just tells you you're still moving." Leira stared at him. No one else had made it back with the beacon. No one else had faced the test and stayed calm. "What did you learn?" she asked. "That your canyon is a mess," Jack said. "That I probably need better shoes." She blinked, then laughed. Real sharp laugh. "You are strange," she said. "Thanks. I try." They walked back to camp together. The others cheered when they saw Jack. Later that night, Jack sat alone, cleaning his scraped leg. Leira joined him and sat down without a word. "Is that enough of a test?" he asked. "For now," so he said. "Do I pass? You did not run. You did not break. You did not complain." Jack smiled. "So I'm still in the game." "Yes," Leira said. "And you may be the first." She stood and walked away. Jack watched her, his eyes filled with new questions. He had passed her test, but he knew more would come. And deep inside, something told him he wanted to face them all. The sky above the desert turned dark blue. Stars began to shine. The camp was quiet, most of the team already resting. Jack sat on a crate near the fire, holding a cup of cold coffee. Leira sat across from him, her eyes on the flames. "You are not like the others," she said. Jack looked up. "Mean the people in your tests?" She nodded. "They tried to impress me. They tried to win. But none of them listened. They feared me or wanted to use me. You did not. I just wanted to help," he said. "Maybe figure out why someone like you ended up here." "I came because there was nowhere else to go," she said. "I came because I had lost faith." Jack tossed a small stick into the fire, and now I'm not sure. She looked at him with steady eyes. "You face danger without fear. You face pain without complaint. But it is not just your strength that surprises me. It is how you think, how you see others, how you see yourself." "Most of us don't really know how we see ourselves," Jack said. "We just try to get through the day." "Still," she said, "there is something inside you, something different." He gave a small smile. "Well, Earth's a rough place. Maybe we grow different because we have to." Leira looked up at the stars. "On my world, strength is born in perfect labs. Our minds are trained from birth. We are told to never show weakness. But I am starting to wonder if that made us blind." "Sometimes weakness is how we grow," Jack said. "Pain teaches more than comfort." Leira stood and walked to the edge of the camp. Jack followed. From there, the desert stretched for miles under the stars. "I have lived many years," she said. "I've studied thousands of minds, but I never saw what I see here. Humans are full of chaos, full of flaws, but you do not give up. You fall, and you rise again." "We have no other choice," Jack said. "Giving up doesn't fix anything." Suddenly, a soft light appeared in the sky. A long ship broke through the clouds and hovered above them. It made no sound. It shimmered like glass. Leora stepped forward. "They found me," she said. "Who are they?" "My people. They sent a watch group. They want answers." A beam of light came down from the ship. A figure stepped out. Tall, silver-eyed, dressed in black. His voice echoed. "Leira, your time is over. Return now. The search has ended." "No," she said. "You have chosen a primitive world, an unworthy species." Jack stepped forward. "Hey, I'm standing right here." The figure looked at him. "This one cannot be your equal. He is not shaped by our standards." "Your standards failed me," Leira said. "They gave me empty hearts and weak minds. This one has more courage than all of them. He is flawed, and so am I." Jack stood beside her. "Look, I don't know who you are, but you don't get to decide who's worthy. Maybe we are flawed, but that's what makes us strong." The figure turned. "You have broken the path, Leira. If you stay, you will be removed from the council. You will be forgotten. She looked at Jack. "What do you think?" she asked. "I think you already made your choice." She stepped closer to him. "Then let them forget me." The beam vanished. The ship turned and rose into the sky, disappearing into the stars. Leira watched it go. Then she looked at Jack. "It will not return." "You sure about that? Yes?" "I know how they think. I am no longer one of them." So Jack said, "What now?" "Now I stay. If you will have me." Jack smiled. "You fixed panels, saved my leg, and stood against a flying crystal ship. You're welcome here." They stood together in silence as the desert wind blew around them. Above, the stars burned bright, and for the first time, Leira felt like she had found her place. The next morning, the camp was filled with quiet movement. People packed equipment, ran checks, and prepared for the end of their research work. The mission was almost over, but something had changed. The air felt heavier, as if the stars themselves were watching. Leira walked through the camp, her eyes calm. She greeted the others with short nods. They no longer looked at her with fear. Now they looked with respect. Something about her had shifted, and they felt it. Jack sat under a shade, checking a broken drone. His hands moved slow but steady. Leira joined him. "You fixed it yet, almost?" Jack said. "Just needed a new wire, and maybe a miracle." "You make jokes often, yeah? Helps keep the world from feeling too big." She sat beside him. "Your world is small, but your people are not." Jack looked at her. "You sure about staying?" "Yes. I gave up my place with the council. I gave up the search." "But why me?" "Because you never tried to become what I wanted. You just stayed who you were, and that was enough." Before Jack could reply, a loud hum shook the sky. 4 ships appeared above the desert, not like the one from before. These were dark and sharp, shaped like claws. Jack stood. "I don't think those are friends." Leira's face grew hard. "They are not. Those are sent by the Galactic Order. They do not accept my choice." The ships landed in a circle. Figures stepped out, all dressed in silver. One of them walked forward and spoke. "You have disobeyed. You have broken the code. This planet is not recognized. It will be marked as unfit." "That is not your right," Leira said. "You judge only by rules, not by truth. Rules keep peace. You bring chaos." Jack stepped forward. "This world doesn't need your approval. We're not waiting for anyone to name us worthy." The figure looked at Jack. "You are not part of this matter." "Wrong," Jack said. "She chose this place. I stand with her, so now I am part of it." More figures stepped forward. Weapons formed on their arms. They pointed at the camp. Leira moved in front of Jack. "You will not harm them." "Then stop your claim. Return, and the matter ends." Leira raised her hand. Her skin glowed faint blue, energy wrapped around her fingers. "I am done with your ways. I am not returning." A voice from the camp called out. It was Ben, holding a camera drone. You all might want to smile. "You're live to half the internet now." The silver figures paused. Jack grinned. "He likes filming everything." Leira spoke loud and clear. "The galaxy will see what power fears. It fears what it cannot control. Fears choice." One of the figures stepped back. The leader looked around. Other cameras were now rolling. Humans across the world were watching. "This planet is not ready," the leader said. "You said that because you were not ready for it," Jack replied. "But you'll learn. Earth doesn't follow. It leads in its own way." A long silence followed. Then the ships rose. The silver figures returned to them. One by one, they lifted into the sky and vanished. Leira let out a breath. Her glow faded. Jack looked at her. "So, we just stood down a galactic order with some cameras and attitude." "Sometimes that is enough," she said. Later that night, they sat together outside the camp. Stars stretched above them. The desert was silent. "Do you think they'll come back?" Jack asked. "Yes, but next time, they will think first. And us. We move forward, step by step." "You still want to find someone equal?" She looked at him. "Maybe equal is not the point. Maybe it's someone who keeps walking beside you, no matter the path." Jack smiled. "Well, I'm not going anywhere." The wind passed over the land. 2 figures sat side by side under the stars. quiet and still. The galaxy had tried to judge, but Earth had spoken in its own way, and for Leira, the search was finally over.